Welcome to this webinar. It's Robin Robbins here. You probably already knew that because I think the sign up page had my big face on it, like a big giant face of me on there. But very excited to be here with you today. We are going to be talking about how to generate more sales, more revenue, more clients, more profitability without spending a dime on marketing. And I know that sounds crazy because you're saying, hang on a second, don't you sell marketing services? Isn't that how you make money, is when people spend money on marketing? And the answer to that is, of course, yes, I do. But where I actually provide the most value to my customers, my members, is in showing them how to be more sophisticated at looking at their sales, their marketing, the efforts they're doing now to get even more results with less time, less money, less effort. I mean, that's what you want to do. And again, yes, I am absolutely for spending money on marketing. I'm not suggesting that at all. But what I find with most of the MSPs that I work with is that there are multiple ways that we can increase your revenue and your profitability with fewer clients and without spending a single dime on marketing. So I know you guys are on here live with me right now. I have a slide deck that I'm going to share with you guys. If you're just piling in, go ahead and post something in the chat. Maybe you got a question. Maybe you just want to say, hey, I'm dialing in from, Nashville, Tennessee. I'm right now in Franklin, which is just outside of Nashville. And maybe you could just post that in the chat. Maybe you have a thought about this. Maybe you're like, hey, Robin, I don't know if it makes sense, all this marketing stuff you're talking about, or maybe you're a little skeptical, or maybe you have a question or a thought, or you want to contribute to this. So please post that in the chat. We would love to hear from you. Go ahead and do that. But what I want to do is, since I have a lot of ground to cover, is I want to get right down into the content for today. And again, you should be seeing my screen, no problem there. Again, in the chat, if you're having trouble, you can post it in the chat. I do have my team in the background. They can yell at me if they can't see my screen. But today's webinar is going to be giving you 6 ways to double sales, MRR, and clients without spending a dime on marketing. And this is really what I see as one of the number one problems for all IT service firms, whether you think of yourself as a VAR or an MSP. Maybe you're still doing break-fix services. Maybe you've ventured into co-managed or MSSP, because all our clients run the gamut of that. But the challenge every business owner has, small is particularly when you're small, but even when you grow, and the question we're always trying to answer is, how do I grow sales profitability with limited resources? Because none of us in business have all the money or all the people that we would like to have in order to make something happen. So we're always trying to optimize with limited resources. And so that is what we're going to talk about today. And again, I'm not suggesting that you should not spend money on marketing. You absolutely should. But here's what I will tell you. It's better to start with the things that you can do to grow sales and profitability that don't cost anything. And then once you have those in place, then we add on the spend of marketing. So more specifically, what I'm going to be covering today are easily 6, I would even say 7-figure sales opportunities. I don't want to be too aggressive. Some of you might, if you're not even $1 million in business, adding a 7-figure opportunity is not realistic. But I can tell you, you're overlooking really 6-figure, 7-figure sales opportunities that are really easy to get. I'm going to be covering the fastest way to add significant profits to your bottom line, because top line's for vanity, bottom line is for sanity. And at the end of the day, it's what you keep is what matters, not necessarily what you sell. I'm also going to talk about where you should start doing marketing before you spend any money on lead generation, social media, SEO, websites, and more. And yes, we do those services for our members, but I'm telling you that when people become members of our programs, we do not start with saying, here's your budget for marketing and here's where you got to spend. We start teaching them these things. And this is what I'm going to show you today. I'm also going to talk about why most MSPs never break the $1 million mark, which is really kind of surprising, and why so many are grossly unprofitable. I think there was a recent survey that came out from Service Leadership that showed 28% of MSPs out there today are unprofitable. So that means they're not making any money. That is staggering because the MSP market right now is on fire. More and more small businesses, medium, big businesses, but small businesses in particular are becoming more digitally dependent on IT infrastructure and all the things that they call it the digital revolution, if you will, of small business. And so more of them are needing people like you, needing the MSPs. Cybersecurity is forever driving demand and regulatory compliance. More businesses are now falling under some sort of regulatory compliance to keep their data protected. All of this drives opportunities for MSPs. Yet still today, nearly 80% of MSPs never break the $1 million mark, which is crazy. So I'm going to talk about why that is. What are they doing that's slowing their growth, that's getting in their way so that they can release their brakes and make the money they want and deserve, and how to fire your cheap PITA, pain in the ass clients, as we call them, and still make a lot of money with less work and less aggravation. Now, hopefully you're going to stay around to the end. If you can't, if you got to drop off, at least put this URL in your browser or grab this. Maybe my team can put this in the chat. itmarketingplan.com/6 ways. I have put together some additional resources for you, like the ultimate MSP guide to marketing, the creating your IT service sales playbook. There's videos, there's templates, there's resources. I've put this together for you for free, and you can go there, itmarketingplan.com/6 ways, to get those resources, and also to sign up for a one-on-one consultation with one of my advisors to talk to you about where you are, where you want to go, what are some of the options, and if appropriate, how we can help you grow your business and implement a working marketing plan. So itmarketingplan.com/6 ways. Now, the other thing I want to cover very briefly, because whenever we do this webinar, my ego would tell me, hey, everybody has to know who I am. I've been around for over 20 years. We've helped over 10,000 MSPs, but I know there's some of you who have never heard of me, and they're thinking, who is this redhead chick to tell me how to run my MSP? So I get that. It is incumbent upon me to tell you why you should listen to a word I have to say. So if you've been around and you're a client of mine, or you've been following me for a while, be patient. I'm just going to take a minute. There are some people who are brand new to me in this webinar. So briefly, since 2001, I have worked with over 10,000 MSPs, VARs, IT service companies, CEOs, and they have enrolled in one or more of our various programs that we have. And we have over 90,000 IT business subscribers in our database right now today. And those are leaders. Those are people who are in the space in some capacity, again, VAR, MSP, MSSP, or they're selling break fix. And if you look at this, however you want to measure success, by number of clients, by revenue, by retention numbers, we have built the largest, most successful consulting firm in the IT channel based on number of members, based on revenue, and really based on the results that we get for our customers. We run the largest MSP peer group in our industry. We currently have, that number has actually gone up because we're now just shy of 1,500 members. We have over 9,000 active customers in our database. And that's really important for you to know, because I work with MSPs on a day-to-day basis in peer group settings where they share with me their numbers, their metrics, their plans, their goals. And you don't have to be a genius to start seeing patterns of what's working and what's not working. So it's really important that you understand what we're teaching you is not based on theory. It's not based on, we're just running a marketing firm. A lot of what we do in the peer groups are look at financials and metrics and quarterly plans, which involve a lot more than marketing. Marketing, of course, is part of that, but sales, but also operational excellence, onboarding customers, account management, leadership, hiring, managing people, all those things that we talk about in these peer groups. So everything I'm sharing with you today are things that I know work because I've worked with the MSPs out there today who are running real MSPs, from small startups all the way up to some of our clients are over 40 million and seeing what they're doing to succeed. I'm also the CEO of MSP Success Magazine. Right now, we started the magazine in right about 2020. That year, it was the end of 2020. We have about 45,000 MSPs as subscribers to the magazine. And bottom line, we have more documented client success stories than any other marketing consultant in this industry, period. We literally have hundreds and hundreds of these. And when you say, well, what kind of results do you produce? Well, for example, Brian and Mary Hamilton, Mad Data IO, came to us when they were really, really small. They were doing about $1,500 a month in managed services, now well over $8,500, multi-million-dollar a year MSP. I mean, they say last year we did 1.6. They're up closer towards 3 million. So this is an example of someone working with us, being flat broke, very little managed services. In fact, they have 5 kids and they were living in a 1-bedroom apartment while they were trying to grow their MSP. A lot has changed since then, I'm happy to report. Scott Hodges-Ottigan came to us in the middle of the pandemic and grew his brand new startup MSP to 89,000 in MRR in 90 days. Now, Scott's a little unique in the sense that he does more of the larger co-managed deals, but followed the process, added $89,000 in MRR, $6,000 in projects, and that was just in the first 90 days. And today, multi-million-dollar year MSP. Or Roland Parker with Impress Computers. When he joined our program, he was doing a little bit of managed services, but a lot of break fix. And in just a very short period of time, added 6 MSP clients, increased MRR by 15,000 and added over 20,000 in projects. And that was just in a 90-day period. And that was after 6 years of running an MSP with no growth. Or Charles Swihart's another person. His story is incredible. He's in a small town. He's in Sugar Land, Texas, and had 981 break fix customers, doing anything for a buck, stressed beyond belief. And over a period of a couple of years, we have worked with him to convert the break fix to managed, shed all the low-end customers, get higher value customers, raise prices. And I'm happy to report Charles does over $1 million net today. He wasn't even doing $1 million top line. Now that took about 4 or 5 years, but that's still pretty significant results. So all I would ask is if you're sitting there and you're going, well, who's this redheaded chick to tell me? I realize you might be skeptical, and I don't blame you for that, because there's a lot of people out there, who tell you, oh, they show you all the great results, right? The testimonials. I get it. I understand. And a lot of them are full of BS. I 100% with you. I can tell you that, again, I have a history in the industry. I've been working with MSPs for a very long time in getting them the results that I've shown you. I just showed you a couple. You could go to my website. You could see more. But I would just ask that you check your skepticisms at the door, because they're going to be there for you to pick up on your way out. So if you sit there and you go, well, that won't work for me, or you don't understand, Robin, my business is different. My customers are different. I live in a conservative town and these people will not respond to that. Or I live in a really small town and they're more liberal and creative and they won't go for that. I promise you, I've worked with every single type of MSP, startup to large, different types of customers. They're working with government, schools, to legal, dental, hospitals, and everything in between. So just check your skepticisms a little bit and let me open up some opportunities for you to make more money. All right. So now I want to get into 6 ways to get more of these being stacks of money. All right. And the first way that we're going to do this is we're going to call it's called fix your funnel. Now, some of you have probably heard of the term marketing funnel. All right. And there's all different kind of stages. Different people have different stages. They have different ways of representing them. But here's the big concept I want you to take away from this. And that is there are 3 ways to increase sales and profits for your business. So the first way that you can generate more sales is obviously you do marketing and you generate more inbound leads, good qualified prospects who want to do business with you. That is certainly one way to grow sales. But another way you can grow sales is convert more of the leads that you have to paying customers. Now, this section is not just about your sales process, although it is. This section is also about capturing leads, about building a list, about following up, about drip marketing. And this, I can tell you, most MSPs, the number one challenge they have when they come to us is they don't have a list of prospects. And what I mean is they've been in business for 5, 10, 20, 30 years. And we're having to start over from scratch like they're a brand new startup because they never maintained a qualified list. So another way to increase sales, and we're going to talk about this, and I'll give you some more specifics around this, is how do you convert more of the leads that you're getting into paying customers? And then, of course, the last way you can grow your business is to really maximize client value. And in my 22 plus years of working with MSPs, VARs, IT service companies, here's what I can tell you. I have never yet met a single MSP that was fully maximizing client value. They think they are. They'll say things to me like, Robin, you don't understand. All my customers are cheap bastards. I've talked to them about managed services. They're not buying. I've talked to them about cybersecurity and they say we're fine. No, we're too small. We don't need that. I'm telling you, a lot of this can be fixed in the way that you not only sell them in that middle column, convert them, how you onboard them, but also the conversation that you have afterwards. And there's more ways to create value and grow value of existing customers. And we're going to talk about some of those things. All right. But here's what's super cool. When we get a new member for us, and we're teaching them marketing, I don't just teach them lead generation, although we do that. We actually show them how to increase each of these areas and get better in each of these areas. And by doing that, we don't just get a 10% increase. Let's say we increase the number of leads you're getting by 10% or 20%. By simultaneously working on all three areas, there's a compounding effect that creates exponential gains. So, for example, if you became a member of ours and we figured out some ways to generate more leads. Okay, great. Let's say now 5 leads a month, I know for some of you is very aggressive. Some of you, the average MSP is only generating about 1 to 2 leads a month. Okay. But let's say and you could plug in different numbers and do the math. You'll see it comes out the same. But let's say you're generating 5 leads a month or 60 total leads per year. And all we do is we get a 10% increase, which is not massive, right? I mean, I think you all would agree that getting a 10% increase isn't like revolutionary, although it is positive, right? But let's say, so it's a very reasonable goal. So let's say we increase the leads and now we're getting 66 leads a year. Okay, now we don't stop there though, all right? So let's say you were converting 2 clients out of those 5 leads. Maybe they're not all qualified. Maybe your sales process is lacking. Maybe you don't have good follow-up, right? So we take those 2 clients per month, which let's say at a 40% close rate, okay? And we increase the close rate to 50%. Now, here's what I'll tell you. In most MSPs, the close rate is under 30%. Where we shoot to get our clients is where they're closing 60 to 70%. Okay, but let's not even be that crazy. Let's just say we increase your close rate by 10%. So now instead of getting 2 clients or 24 clients a year, now we're getting 33. Okay, that's all we do. Then we don't stop there. We also do a 10% increase in maximizing client value. And what I mean by that is we raise your prices a little bit. We add a little more value. So now let's say your average client was worth $1,000 per month. And that is very, very conservative because right now our average Producers Club, Accelerators Club member, their average MRR is somewhere around $2,950 per month. But let's just say yours is $1,000. So whatever it is, but we bump it to 10%. And we do that by creating a better sales process, by showing you how to overcome objections like we're fine, or we don't need all that, or we don't want to spend that kind of money, by better targeting. See, sometimes in sales and marketing, The problem is your marketing is attracting the wrong kind of person. Sometimes it might be you're not explaining the value. Sometimes you're not building enough trust and authority with that prospect so that you can say, look, you do need this, and they take your advice. So there's all these things, but let's say we get a 10% increase. So now what you used to generate, 5 leads a month, 2 clients a month, $12,000 average ARR. Now, let's say that was 288,000. Let's say that was your growth rate. By increasing 10% in each area, that same funnel with just a 10% increase is now an exponential increase. So we increase it by 147,600. And that is not a 10% increase, folks. That is a 51% increase. All right. So hopefully everybody's following me along there. Let me just stop and take a look. Karen, is there anything I need to address?
Everything's good. I love how you said, though, that generate more leads. Like, there's 2 other ways to do it with people you already have in your system and you're already talking to. So
yeah, excellent. Karen's in the background. She's amazing. So Karen is my marketer, operations, kind of everything. She's like tech support. She does it all. So yeah, but it's really important because, you know, when you start spending money on marketing and generating leads, you want to maximize the conversion of the leads you get. Then you want to maximize the clients you get, because it's expensive to get customers. And we'll talk about that. So like one of my case studies, who's a current spokesperson of mine, every year we have a new spokesperson. So it's like president, they're always spokesperson, right? You always say it's the president. We added 37 new clients and 78,000 in MRR in a year. Within the first 90 days, closed 14,000 but by doing this process that I just outlined, increasing the leads a little bit more, increasing the sales and close rate, increasing the price and so forth. When they went from being a broke MSP operating out of his basement to now a multi-million-dollar year MSP. I believe Adam is now either near or he will exceed 5 million in revenue yet this year, which is pretty amazing when he was basically break fix, no recurring, no systems, no list, no website, no value proposition, no nothing. Right? So this is what's possible if you can fix your funnel and start thinking in terms of not just more leads, but more leads, better qualified leads, higher conversion, higher prices, maximizing client value. And we're going to keep doing this because the next part, which ties right to this, is how do you make every client worth more? Okay. And this is extremely important for you to think about and have a strategy around, because the reason we have our members, so when a new member comes to us, we start with, how do we develop your existing customers? How do we get them on higher service levels? How do we raise your prices? And how do we add more value to them so that you're not losing them? You're not just raising prices to raise prices, but you're actually helping their business. And the reason we want to maximize the value of every client and start there, not with lead generation, but start there, is because the more clients you need to hit whatever your income growth or revenue goal is, the more complicated, the more stressful, the more problem riddled your business becomes. Let me show you an example of this. So let's say you want to add $1 million in ARR, annual recurring revenue, to your business. Okay. So you want to grow by $1 million. Okay. If your average client spends $300 per month, you need 278 clients to make that happen. That's crazy. Think about the onboarding. Think about the billing. Think about the customer service. Okay. At $500 per month, it's better, but it's still pretty bad at 167. If you get it up to 1,000 per month, now you only need, I say only, 83 clients, which is still pretty aggressive. At 25 per month, and these are close numbers. You'll see it doesn't work out exactly to $1 million, but close. You need 33 clients. At $4,902 per month, you only need 17 clients to add $1 million in new ARR. At 10,000 per month, you only need 8 customers, right? And so when you start looking at this, you start to realize a couple of things. One is, if I go upstream, maybe I should target customers who can spend $5,000 to $10,000 a month in IT support, where it's not a big challenge. It's kind of like that's what they're used to spending. So right away, now your marketing brain kicks in and says, well, maybe we should target a different customer if that's what we want, okay? Because the average MSP last year added 11 new customers and churned 4 for a net of 7. So let me say that again. The average MSP last year added 11 new customers, churned 4, meaning they lost 4 customers, so they were up a net 7. So when you start thinking about this, if you want to add $1 million in ARR with new customers, you're going to have to think about how you're going to approach that and how developing the customers you have may be a better route than just going out and trying to get more new customers. I have it on another slide. You'll see it later, but best-in-class MSPs spend $27,500 to get a new logo. And you heard that right. I'm going to cover it later, but getting new managed services customers is very difficult and very expensive. So you want to make sure that whatever customer you have a system, you have a process in place for developing that customer. Here's another way to look at this. So let's say you had a decent MSP has 150 customers, and the 150 customers, the average user is 25. So that's not a outrageously big customer, right? If you look at the per seat price, and you just look at how selling additional services, how building the value of the customer by per seat, just if we use that metric alone, you can start to see not only the dollar amount in profits, but you start to also see the multiple of enterprise value, EV. Enterprise value is basically what somebody would pay for your business today if it were for sale. Okay. So one of the things, again, that we teach our members is don't just generate sales to generate sales. Don't just get customers to generate customers. When you're running your business, you want to build enterprise value. You want to build an asset that feeds you, meaning you're getting profits from it, that also at some point in the future, we're all going to exit our business, right? We want to do it under your terms. And if you're doing it right, not only are you getting profits every year, but you're also building enterprise value. And MSPs trade on a multiple of EBITDA. So if you look here, you can see these are rough estimates. There's always, I mean, again, there's a lot of things that go into these calculations, but MSPs trade on multiples of EBITDA. And the more dollar volume of EBITDA you have, the more your business is worth. Even if the profitability is 20%, you can see if you're a small MSP at $1 million and you're doing 20%, you're generating $200,000 in EBITDA net profit. You're only going to get a 4x multiple. Whereas when you get up into $1 million in net profit, you get 6 times, which is the difference between 6 million and 800,000. That's significant. So again, these are reasons why we coach our members and give them systems and processes to develop the customer, okay? And additional reasons, if that's not enough, customer acquisition costs. By selling into your existing customers, by increasing the ARR, by doing projects, you can do that without customer acquisition costs, because the cost of getting a customer, once you spend that money, you got the customer, you don't have to spend that again. So like I said earlier, best-in-class MSPs spend $27,500 to acquire a new client, and that's who you're competing with, all right? So, and when clients provide you more profits, you can invest more to get them, which makes it easier to get new clients. So again, let's say, for example, your average customer spends somewhere around $5,000 to $10,000 per month with you. Well, if profitability is the same across all clients in your customer base, which is probably not, but let's just say it was, getting that $5,000 customer is not 5 times harder than getting the $1,000 customer. But what you can do is you can spend more to get $5,000 in monthly recurring revenue than you can spend to, say, get $500 per month in recurring revenue, okay? So the more valuable the customer, the easier it is to spend money to get them, which makes marketing easier, which makes your business go faster, all right? Clients who buy more services from you are more loyal. They're less likely to churn. It's harder to fire you, and it keeps the wolves in sheep's clothing, meaning competitors, out of your flock. So for example, if you wanted to continue to develop your customers, one of the things that you guys need to do absolutely is you need to start offering some sort of advanced cybersecurity protection, because I promise you this, if you don't, some other competitor is going to come along and pick off your best customers, because businesses that are a little bit larger, really all businesses, but the best customers, the ones that care about cybersecurity, if you can't provide that for them, they're going to go with an MSP that can. And so there's that, so if you're not selling advanced cyber, you need to, we're going to talk about that in a minute. If you're not selling phone systems, I guarantee you there's an MSP in your market that is. And if your customer needs a phone system, guess what? They might go find your competitor MSP, buy it from them. And now you've got a competitor with a relationship in the network dealing with your customer. And this happens all the time. So this is another reason why you want to constantly be expanding your footprint within the client, finding ways to provide, to get revenue. Clients are often happier to have one throat to choke. They'd rather buy from one place instead of having to go find other vendors. And you know what? You don't even have to do all the work, because you can partner with someone else in your market to fulfill some of these services, like advanced cyber, like compliance as a service, phone systems, application development. You can partner with those people. So, all right. Take a little drink of water. I'm kidding. I don't drink whiskey. Maybe. Anyway, but not today. Totally sober. All right. So here are just a few additional services that MSPs can offer. Again, this is not a comprehensive list, and some of you might be doing some of this. Maybe you're not doing some of others, but it's really important. The advanced cybersecurity solutions, EDR, MDR, XDR, multi-factor authentication, quarterly pen tests or annual pen tests, compliance, dark web, documentation, copiers, printers, document imaging solutions. Secure payments is a big one. A lot of MSPs are now offering secure payments to their customers, because of PCI compliance, and just to make sure, like on our credit card bill, for example, we had our current MSP, which is Vector Choice, go through and audit our credit card compliance. And there were a few things we were not doing, not that we weren't secure, but there was a few things that if we did, we actually had lower fees on our credit cards because we were more secure. So once you learn, you'll have to contact Vector Choice. I don't know all the details on that, but PCI compliant and secure payments is another way for you to add value to your customer, help them lower costs, keep them protected, and make additional money. So these are just some of the things. The question really is, what else do your customers need and want to buy? All right. Now, best in class, the way that they provide more value to their customers while simultaneously increasing profits and revenue is that all break-fix customers, even if they start out that way with them, are moved to a managed services plan, either at the start, so they're selling it from the start, or at some point after some trust has been established. So some customers, when they first come to you, might just have a project. They might just need help with something. There is a strategy where you could say, all right, provided the customer fits your qualifications as far as somebody you want to work with, meaning they're big enough, there's enough opportunity, you might consider offering break-fix services or a project to get in the door, develop a relationship, and then sell managed services. But eventually, all clients need to be moved to a managed services plan. Another thing best-in-class MSPs do, and what we teach our customers to do, is to build for every customer an IT roadmap and an IT budget. So if you come into my organization, you're my IT company, one of the things that I would expect is you do an assessment of my environment and you find out how fast are you growing, how many employees are you adding on new locations, what regulatory compliance do I fall under? And as my MSP would build a roadmap of a process to say to me, okay, Robin, here's where you are, here's where we need to get you to from stability, security, compliance, right? So here's what you're going to pay me to manage your network. And here's the projects we need to get you secure, compliant, steady, readily available, lower costs, help with growth, right? And that's called an IT budget. And best-in-class MSPs are doing that for their customers. So when they get them, a new customer, they're creating that annual roadmap and annual budget. And then the customer, selling to the customer is kind of easy because you've already done that work. Then what they'll do is they'll conduct these strategic QBRs. So you may even hear them, sometimes people call them technology reviews or TBRs, but they meet with the client on a quarterly basis. And what they do is they review the plan, the roadmap, the budget. Where are we? Because things change. Maybe that company is experiencing a surge of growth. Maybe that company is opening a new office. Maybe that company's contracting a bit, right? Maybe they don't want to be in office. They want to be a completely remote office. But what you're doing every quarter is you're sitting down with your customer, revisiting the roadmap and the budget. And that way, what you're doing is you're having a strategic conversation with your customer and developing them into a better customer instead of just letting them call you whenever something breaks, whenever, I don't know, whatever something, I don't know, they get a wild hair and they need something. Okay. So this is really important. Also, they reevaluate their client's profitability and right fit status at least twice a year. So here's another big surprise. So one of the things we get our members to do is rank their customers most profitable to least profitable. And we show them how to figure out profitability. And what we always find is that the biggest customers they have, the ones they think are the best, often aren't the least profitable. And sometimes they're shocked to find out some of these smaller clients are way more profitable than the bigger ones. All right. So you want to reevaluate this on an ongoing basis. Now, I don't know if you guys are liking this. I'm kind of trying to look at the chat. I see some comments coming in. Let me look here. Are you guys hating this, loving this?
I think everybody is paying rapt attention.
Okay. See, Karen's a marketer. She knows how to wrap it up. They're like, they're in rapt attention. It's like, no, they're falling asleep. Okay, good. I just want to make sure that you guys are getting some value from this because I want you to think, strategically, right? See, all of this, guess how much this costs to implement? Zero. Now, maybe you have to join a membership or get a coach or something to learn this, but doing this doesn't cost you anything. That's not you don't spend money you invest time in developing the structure and the process, but this is really adding value to your customers, growing the MRR, growing the projects, growing the profitability. And it's not a marketing campaign you have to spend money on. Okay. How best-in-class MSPs also develop their clients. I'll get you, here's kind of a quick formula, right? So you want to rank your customers best fit to least profitable. So we tell you to kind of rank them as an A, B, C, or D. Okay, A being the best, B second best, C and D, obviously least profitable. So here's a quick screenshot to show you, okay? So A clients are over 65% gross margin. And when you determine somebody is an A client, you want to stay close to that client, provide them premium support because they are your most profitable, most right fit customers. B are between 50 and 60% service gross margin is what we're talking about here. Service, not hardware, not software, but we're talking about service gross margin. And those can be developed a little bit more to A clients. The C clients are between 35% 50% gross margin, and D clients are under 35%. So what we have to do with the D clients is we got to raise their prices. It's going to be around 2 to 3 times recommended, or we're going to say, hey, we can't do business with you. So you might lose those clients, but that's nothing to be upset about because you're basically losing money on every single one of those D clients. C clients, we're going to, and by the way, let me say this, D and C and D clients, we're always going to try and salvage them and move them up. And there's a process to this. We're not just going to go to them and slap them with a big bill and say, good luck or get out of here. I mean, there's a process to this. So of course we want to retain the customer and grow them, but we got to do something with the C and D right now. The other thing we look at is, on target client profile? Are they on what we call your full meal deal? Now, the full meal deal is not all you can eat, all right? Because you do not want to be in a situation where a client pays a bill and everything's included, because it's not, right? And are they on your tech stack? And what I mean by full meal deal is, they're on a managed services plan, not break fix. They're not on these hot shot sort of one-off type services, right? You want to bundle services into intelligent packages and sell those packages, not these random one-offs. Because I promise you folks, billing gets harder, okay? Managing the customer gets hard. Is this included or not included? Your engineer, when they're working on a client trying to clear a ticket, is this a billable event or not a billable event? Is this included in their contract, or do we need to quote them for this? And see, if when you have all these random service offerings, you create chaos. And whenever there's chaos, it's going to stall your growth and it's going to eat in your profits. I promise you. Okay. So you want to do this properly, you need to define what a right fit client is for you. And it's going to be different for everybody. You need to know the service gross margin. I'm not talking about hardware. I'm not talking about selling Office 365. I'm talking about service gross margin. You need to evaluate which clients are in your full service offering and tech stack, because part of what you're doing in your QBRs is getting them to slowly move on to your full tech stack and your full service offering, because that's what's going to be best for them and it's going to be what's best for you. All right. Now, how best-in-class MSPs develop it, they rank their customers. For their A clients, they make sure they prioritize them on the service desk. They meet with them quarterly doing these QBRs, provide CISO or CIO strategy and services. Step 3 for B and C clients, we map out that roadmap and budget, and we try to say, okay, here's what we need to do in projects and increasing your MRR over the next 3 quarters to reduce your risk from downtime, data loss, cyber attack, increase your stability, lower the number of tickets and problems, because sometimes they need an upgrade, hardware upgrade, software upgrade, so we can reduce the tickets you have, which is good for them and good for you, because the quieter the environment, the more profitable it'll be for you, all things being equal. Because of course, if you have a noisy environment with a bunch of problems and you're supporting a bunch of old, outdated equipment, outdated software, that creates work for you. So this is why you want to have this roadmap and budget. So you're getting your customers onto your service stack. You might not be able to do it like, boom, 1 month, write me a check for $100,000. But what you can do is you put it in that roadmap and you say, okay, these are the critical things. We got to get it done this quarter. The budget's going to be $5,000. Here's the things we're going to do in Q2. Here's the next group of things. That budget's going to be $6,000. Q3, we're going to do this because these machines are getting old. So we're going to have to replace them and do an upgrade in Q3. So you map it out with a budget. So your customer's like, okay, I get it. I understand I got a budget for these things. So you're not just hitting them with random bills. You also want to look at things to help them grow. And then for D clients, I call it a come to Jesus meeting. And that's where you tell them you got to pay more, or, you can't be my client. It's just as simple as that. And you can give them like, hey, I'm giving you 45 days, maybe 2 months to, you're either going to have to get on this higher level plan, or we're going to have to find another MSP or somebody else out there to help you, so we'll help you with the transition, but we've reevaluated our service offering and this is the direction we're going. Okay. And I know everybody out there is going to say, oh my God, Robin, my clients are too cheap. I can't do this. I'll show you an example from Jay Hill. Jay Hill was running a very good break fix shop for 20 years, had working 12, 14-hour days. He joins our program. This is the conversation I'm having with him. And after 2 weeks, just said, look, we're going to go back to your clients. We have a process. So all this may seem scary, but there's a process to this. It's not just slam them with a price increase. There is preparation. There's strategy. There is a process to it. But, we got him up to 118,000 in MRR. Life is way better for Jay now, in a lot of ways. Okay. Or Evan Desjardins, like when he came to me, he was mostly break fix customers. He had 17 or over 17, but we moved him to managed services. This was back, I want to say 2020 era. Now Evan's like a $6-7 million a year MSP. So he's grown way beyond what you're saying, and he doing the things that I'm talking to you about doing right now, because these are the things that are really going to help you with growth. Okay. Now, if you're doing account management the right way, write this down. Okay. Every client, if you're doing account, which is the QBRs, every client is aligned to your current tech stack. So you want to have a budget and a roadmap plan on how when you get a new customer. Okay, so are they with your RMM tool, obviously PSA, you're going to put those things on there, but antivirus, EDR, MDR, XDR, backup, firewalls, you want to move them over to your tech stack because it makes it easier for you to support. It makes it more profitable for you. It makes it better for the client because you know how to support them, and it quiets down the environment. So you want to be doing that. And you should be growing MRR roughly about 10% year over year through the QBRs, through the TBRs, et cetera. Okay, you want to have that planned. If you're doing it right, 10% MRR year over year. Here's the other thing. If you're doing this right, you should be getting 60%, 50-60% of your MRR in projects. So for example, if you're generating $100,000 in annual recurring revenue, you should be generating 60,000 in projects from those same clients. So you get your little calculator out and you say, okay, this client is paying me $2,000 a month in monthly recurring revenue, or MRR, right? If I multiply that by 12, that's $24,000 in ARR, or annual recurring revenue. 60% of that is about $14,400. So that means if they follow industry best practices, roughly about, you should plan on about $14,000, $15,000 in projects over the year. All right. So it's a general rule of thumb, but it holds up. Okay. So this is how you know you're getting it right. Okay. Now this is Robert Spar. We call Robert Big Daddy Pop Pop because, believe it or not, he does rap videos that are funny. Anyway, it's hilarious. But anyway, so he started doing TBRs about 3 years ago. We were doing them haphazardly, no consistency and no results. So by the way, you might be doing them TBRs now, QBRs, but you're not doing them well. So you're not getting the results. Obviously, if anything you don't do well, you could screw up. So anyway, after reviewing tools and upgrades and doing this process the way we're teaching it, we've added a total of 124,000 in just a few months. Because again, when you get it right, the strategy right, you can accelerate sales and do a lot of good for your customers. Or I love this quote from Tommy Thornton, Automates, I appreciate his honesty, because I know a lot of you probably dodge your customers. Okay. Maybe that's because they're crabby and bitchy and you don't want to deal with them. But sometimes I don't know. A lot of MSPs don't like talking to their customers. So they don't do QBRs. They don't do meetings with them. So he avoided, he said, I intentionally dodge my customers, honest. So, but after I turned 3 TBRs into 77,000, I suddenly had proof that the program worked. So really, really important. This is another example. Or I'll give you one more. Stephen Cracknell from USM Technology added 34,528 in new MRR, grew year over year revenue 33%. And all they're doing is QBRs, not even QBRs, they're doing every 6 months. So TBRs, and they start with a pen test to review the environment, review the plan, review the budget. Okay. All right. Number 3, another way you can grow clients, revenue, profitability without spending a dime on marketing, pretty obvious, is referrals. Okay. Now you go to most MSPs and you say, how do you get your customers? They're all going to say word of mouth, right? So this is nothing shocking. But the question is, do you have a process for getting them and fueling them? And then do you have a reward system? Do you have a way of following up on those referrals and following up on the people who give them so they continue to give you more? And that's where most MSPs fall apart. They love referrals. They'll take them if they come in, but it's as random as the weather. If they come in, great. If they don't come in, they don't have anything else to do. So couple ideas. Number 1, to get referrals, simply ask. Ask in the initial sale, ask at every QBR meeting, and throughout the year. Create a little script, create an incentive plan, and you're good to go. The other thing, a little trick here, people feel more comfortable referring someone to a business that has a lot of positive reviews online. So one little trick you can do, it's not a trick, but one thing you can do and focus on is make sure you have a lot of good 5-star Google reviews, because not only does it help with search in search optimization, but it also makes your customers and other people feel more comfortable in referring people to you. Another way to do this, in a monthly print newsletter. Did I say print? You know, the paper, ink. You see this? This is called paper. It's got a thing on here called ink. And what you can do is you can mail something, you know, not like email, but you can mail your customers newsletters. And in there, you highlight people who've been referred to you. You highlight referral contests. You highlight clients who have referred you, right? You give incentives. And guess what? When it comes in every month, your customers are reminded about some awesome referral incentive program that you have. Put a referral quota on your account managers and your seniors and your service manager. They're in there every day. You could print a postcard up that has a QR code that says, "We love referrals. Refer somebody to us and get a free something." QR code opens a little web form. They can refer somebody. The engineer can hand it to them, say, "Hey, do you know anybody who can refer us? This month, you know, we're giving away dinner for 2 at a great steak restaurant. Next month, we're giving away a spa day for any referral. Next month, we're giving away fill in the blank, a drone or something. I don't know, whatever. A new camera, an iPod, whatever. Or not, they don't make iPods anymore. Whatever, you know, some digital device or cool headphones or whatever. Put a referral quota and constantly be asking. Print up a little postcard. Have your engineers drop it on the desks of the people when they go to visit. Hey, we love referrals. Hey, there's a QR code. Give me a 5-star review. If I've deserved it, if I earn it, give me a 5-star review if I've done a good job for you. And that's one QR code. And on the back of it, so there's that. And then on the other side is, hey, refer somebody in the month of March, April, June, pick a whatever. And we're going to give you away your choice of one of these gifts. Easy. Canvas buildings and office parks. Your clients are in an office. Now the new one we're in, we're sharing a space with one big company and they're grumpy, so you don't want to talk to them. But in the old office, we had like 4 other companies in this office building. There was a real estate firm. There was a financial advisor, big financial advisory firm there. There's a couple different offices up there. And if you were our MSP and you're in our office, just go walk in the door and introduce yourself. Hey, you know, we're the IT company for TMT that's there on the first floor. I wanted to introduce myself, drop off a get out of computer trouble free card or something like that. You know, who does your IT? You start that conversation. That's another way of using your clients to kind of ask for referrals. Bottom line, if you can implement a system for getting every single client to bring you one more client a year, you're doubling your business. And you could do it without spending a dime on marketing. Now, yeah, you could spend money on the incentive plan, but you're getting a customer, right? So you have to have a system and a process for asking for, following up, and rewarding referrals. So Fran Cadero, Redbox Business, we use Robin's referral script. They just went out and asked. They didn't even do anything fancy. Not only get fantastic results, I learned a lot about how to step out of my comfort zone, which is really the big problem. Our new business, just asking per the script and realizing how our clients wanted to help us was amazing. And so far, 1,800 in new MRR, 10,000 new sales with 3 more referrals. So this is they're just getting started. Okay. So just ask. All right. Karen, real quick, are we doing good?
We are doing great.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. They you're right to the point. Lots of good info.
Okay, cool. All right. Strategy number 4, raise your prices. And nobody likes to do this, but most of you out there, I would guarantee, 1, you need to raise your prices because you're not charging enough. And 2, you could charge more and your customers aren't going to leave in droves. Okay. Because the biggest mistake that I see MSPs making is they price their services to try to appeal to everyone. And everyone, instead of the specific high value client that they want, because high value clients do not use price as the number one criteria for how to pick an IT firm. But there are cheap bastards out there. Don't take them as customers. But if you allow them to mess with your head, you start focusing on price instead of value. All right. And so again, big mistake a lot of people make is they let the stench of all these cheapos out there, kind of radiate off them, and they make decisions and do sales presentations in a manner that focuses too much on price. And they actually invite price objections rather than overcoming them. Because again, high value clients are not making a decision on who to choose as their IT provider on the basis of price alone. Price is a consideration, but for high value clients, it is not. Okay. Let me kind of give you an important lesson about this on raising prices. So if we do a 10% increase, which is not massive, that's barely keeping up with inflation these days, right? So what's really cool about that is that money goes right to your bottom line. So let's say you were charging $1,000 MRR, you had 600, your fixed overhead, and your net profit was only 10%. So if your net profit is 10%, you need to raise prices because 10% is like the new break even, okay? And let's say you raise your prices by $100 more per month for that particular client. What's cool about that is that goes right to your bottom line. So now instead of getting $100 net profit, you're generating $200 in net profit, okay? And you multiply that over a year and it really adds up. So if you look at this, you say, if you had 10 clients at $1,000 net after, 10%, right? And we then just raise your prices, right? You can see it literally will double your net profit because any price increase on the top goes right to the bottom line because there's no cost. The only cost would be churn. Okay. Now let me show you something. Here's the other thing. You think a customer complains about price a little bit. So you go, oh, well, let's just give them a 10% discount, right? A 10% discount, if your margins are already tight, where you're at 10%, it wipes out 100% of your profit. So you've got to be very, very careful about discounting because it eats your profit. And there's rising costs, inflation, labor costs. You guys don't need me to tell you this. Engineers are at a premium. The last couple years, MSPs have had to raise their prices 20% to stay on par with just the margins. Like, it's not even like they're making more money. They've had to raise 20% just to keep up with inflation and rising labor costs. It's not like they raise it 20% and they got all this money coming in. They got about the same amounts coming in. They've just had to do that to keep level because labor costs and inflation has gone up exponentially across the board. Okay, so now the question everybody's worried about, what happens if I raise prices and I lose customers? Okay, so let me show you something here, right? What if you had 10 customers, right? I'll give you a minute. Let's say you had 10 customers, top line. You're generating 1,000 total net. You raise your prices. So now you're doubling your net to 2,000. But let's say you lost 2 customers. You would still make $600 more profit. Can you see that right there? Right? So you used to have 10. You raise your prices, goes right to the bottom line. 8 customers at the higher margin, you're making more profit with fewer customers. All right. What if you lost 4 customers? Okay. Again, you're raising your prices. You can see even with 6 customers losing 4, you're still up $200 more in profit. What if you lost half? Guess what? You're about the same. So when you raise your prices, you could be making the same net, but with fewer customers, which I don't know about you, but even if I didn't make more net, and I do want to make more net, but even if I didn't, if I could make the same amount of money with half the work, I'll do that all day long. I think you should too, right? So Will Nobles, who is not only he's our IT company, he's been a member forever, and he runs our mastermind group. Under $1 million, I was working my butt off. So broke, I couldn't pay myself. This is his story. I wasn't doing any marketing. I was charging too little. After going to one of Robin's events, I not only got the courage to charge more, but the templates, price strategies, and sales process to raise prices. As a result, won their biggest deal ever, which was $15,000 per month with a $5 million project. And he is now an $18 million year MSP with very, very, very healthy profit margins. Well, I don't know if he wants me to tell you what they are, but trust me when I say they're doing great. But he went from being under $1 million. He's in the same market with the same competitors, with the same customers. How is it 1 year he's doing $1 million? Next year, he's doing 18. Now, some of that was through acquisition. So just to be fair, so it wasn't all organic, but a lot of it was organic growth as well. And basically, he was just not charging enough. So if you want to raise prices without looking like you're raising prices, one of the things you can do is offer a premium version of your managed services offering. So that's roughly about 30 to 40% higher in price. And usually what this is going to be is an advanced security and compliance package. So you have your baseline managed services, never sell a customer less than they need. So you have that, but then you create this 30% priced higher premium security and advanced compliance. And what you'll find, roughly 10 to 30% will buy it, which instantly raises your prices, right? So if your standard is $1,000 a month, you offer a premium version for $1,500. That's $6,000 more in your pocket per client. And I'll promise you this, again, if you're doing this right, roughly 10 to 30% of people presented with it will buy it. So this is a way of raising your prices without looking like you're raising your prices. Now, with current clients, what you can do, and this is very common, is when you sign customers, you include an annual price increase of up to 5% in your contracts. Very common. I was actually, I'm looking for sort of an independent living for one of my elderly aunts. And every place that I went to visit had an annual price increase of their contract of 5%. So they automatically build that in. They just say, hey, inflation, we know labor costs are going to go up, inflation is going to go up, and we won't charge you more than 5%, but we can go up to 5%. Name your statement of work. So now if you're doing your contracts right, you're going to have what's called an MSA, a master services agreement. And then after you have that, then managed services and any projects you do are on statements of work. And statements of work point back to the master services agreement to say, okay, here's jurisdiction, here's how we get paid, here's how both of us get out of the contract, et cetera, right? So what you do is you sell your service, your managed services offering, and you put the date in there. So you would say something like the 2024 gold service plan. All right. When appropriate, what you go back and you go to the existing customers and you requote them and say, look, so you wait like your 2026. What you say is, sorry, Mr. Customer, you're on our old 2024 plan. We need to upgrade you. We need to requote you to get you on our current service offering. And that way they realize, yeah, we're on an old contract. We need to be upgraded. All right. And then you're conducting QBRs to constantly be doing this. And again, when you're doing QBRs and when you're making recommendations, here's what you're looking for. Look for ways to reduce the risk, data loss, downtime, cyber attacks. Look for ways to increase their stability and lower tickets. All right. And that is aligning to your tech stack. Getting rid of old equipment, getting rid of dated systems, upgrading to new, more modern ways of communication and so forth, right? Improving their productivity. So one of the things, for example, that Vector Choice did for us is they moved us onto Microsoft Teams. And by moving us onto Microsoft Teams, we were able to eliminate Zoom and Slack, which saved us thousands of dollars. So Teams is what they support. And so we're not only moving to their tech stack, but we're also experiencing greater productivity and cost savings, and of course, help with growth. All right. And a little trick here for you. You know what? In the chat, guys, how many of you have ever looked at a cyber liability insurance application? Put that in the chat. Let me see this. How many of you have looked at it? Maybe you've applied. Okay. Okay, yes. All right. We go over them with our clients all the time. Yes, great. That is your blueprint for your advanced cyber protection. So if nothing else, every year, you should be asking your client, let me see your insurance application, your policy, so that I can make sure we're doing all the things that are required in order for you to get coverage. Because when you applied, you said you were doing MFA. You said you had immutable backups. You said, you affirmed you were doing employee awareness training. I, as your IT provider, need to make sure that those things are actually being done, because if not, you're in violation of that agreement. It's like insurance fraud, and they cannot pay you for not doing those things, right? So this is another way to go back to your customers and raise prices, and not do it in a way just to raise prices, but put together a higher value stack. All right. Leah Fryman, ITCon Valley, Spring Valley, New York. She was able to generate $43,000 in new recurring revenue, $230,000 in projects by going back to existing clients. So in total, they added 1.5 million in sales and grew net profits to over $1 million. And this is how she did it. Okay. Now, another one, Conrad, 22,000 new MRR after losing 420,000 in revenue. So you lost that. Conrad's interesting. So Conrad only works with CPAs. And just like MSPs, CPAs went through a massive merger acquisition period of time. So he was losing clients, not because he was doing a bad job, but they were just being bought. So we desperately need to improve our service offering. We took Robin's campaign, which is what I'm showing you, that insurance campaign, and said, we're raising your monthly rate. But this is your life preserver. If the boat goes down, if you don't agree with this, we can no longer be your provider. So this was his choice. He went and gave them it's take it or leave it, which is a very harsh approach. There's other ways you can do it. You don't have to do that, but that's what Conrad decided to do, followed that process. And he had not only increased revenue by 341%, but every single client bought, because it was not based on, hey, we want to raise prices to be arbitrary. It was, we want to raise prices because we have to make sure you have all these things to get cyber liability, which you should have, or if you have it, to make sure you're compliant with your policy. All right. How are we doing, Karen? Okay, good.
We had a question actually that just came in about that. If somebody does put a price increase in their contract, do they still need to inform the client of the increase?
Yeah, I mean, when you're, it depends on how it's worded in the contract. It's not illegal. I mean, so if in your contract it says, we're going to have an annual price increase of 5%. Yeah, I would say as a courtesy to the client, you should email them and say, hey, we're triggering per the contract. We have to trigger our 5% increase. So next month it's going to be, $500 more, $50 more, whatever it is. So yeah. And the goal of what we're teaching you guys is you should be doing QBRs with your customers. And so if you're meeting with them on a regular basis, that should come up. Hey, Bob, just letting you know, next quarter, our contract's going to renew. The prices are going to go up a little bit because we have to trigger that 5% increase. But good news is it won't be more than that. So yeah, I think as a courtesy you do, but legally it just depends on what you have in the contract. Usually there is some notification, but again, you want to do it in a way that builds the relationship with the client. And by the way, your customers get this, their prices should be going up, right? All right. Strategy 5, improving your sales process. Okay. Why MSPs get paid far less? They have zero sales process in place, and they're stubborn about learning how to sell. When I ask Aruma MSPs, how many of you have successfully carried a quota at some point in your life? Very few hands go up. And that's a problem because you don't know how to build value. You don't know how to overcome objections. You don't know how to do a great discovery to understand what is going to motivate this client and align your solution to it. That's what selling is. Selling is not just shoving some product down someone's throat. Good salespeople understand they have a diagnostic process in place. So this is problem horrible at handling inbound leads. So a lot of you, if I called your office, I would get voicemail. Your burn-in leads, we're going to talk about that. Poor targeting of right fit customers. One of the things that we teach our members is how do you really identify and target those high value customers, not just like anybody with a pulse and who can wave a dollar. There's a fear of charging what's necessary, which is usually emotional. Some people just believe that, nope, we're in St. Louis and people around here do not pay for managed services. They believe that, even though I could point to like 3, 4, 5, 6 other MSPs in their area that are thriving. So that's all head trash, right? That's a process of not knowing how to sell. So you're constantly getting beat up on price. You're constantly getting shut down with, let me think it over, or we don't need all that, or I'm not sure, like we want to move ahead. Let me talk to someone else. See, because you're not good at selling, you're getting beat to hell. So you think that's the way the market is. And it's not, because the only common denominator in all this is you. You don't know how to sell. No logical process to build value and overcome objections, and no ability to differentiate to overcome cheaper competitors. And here's the truth. If you don't give a prospect a logical reason why they should buy from you, especially if there are cheaper options, prospects, given no other factor to base their decision on, are going to always shop on price. So if you're getting shopped on price, your positioning is wrong. Your targeting is wrong. You don't have a sales process. You don't know how to differentiate. You don't know how to build value. That can be fixed. And it's not a campaign, because even if we spent $1 million on marketing and drove a bunch of inbound leads to you, if you don't know how to sell, you're going to burn them all. So we got to fix your sales process. Let me show you. For example, let's say you're going on 2 appointments per month. And let's say your average sale is $800 per month for 3, and you keep customers for about 3 years. Okay. That's $28,800, right? And if your average close rate is 25%, which is, by the way, that's the average in the industry, which is not great. By the way, if you're higher than that, because you're only talking to referrals, you just wait. You're going to be shocked at how low your close rate is when you get out there in the real world, the cold world, where they wake up in the morning, eat their young, and turn on you. You're going to find out you don't know how to sell, right? If you're closing referrals, well, of course you're closing. You should be closing 90% of referrals, right? But I'm talking about just generally. Let's say that these were your numbers, all right? Maybe with a better process, we, like I said earlier, like the funnel, we bump it up to maybe going on 2 appointments per month because we handle inbound leads better. We capture them. We answer our phones live. We have web forms. We allow people to book appointments on our website. See, these are all things that you're probably not doing now that are hurting your ability to get new customers, right? So we do that. We increase the average sale to 1,000 a month because we have a better cyber stack, we have a better story, we know how to differentiate, and we improve the close rate to just 50%, right? So that was your revenue before. So you're generating with that funnel about $172,800. That was your total revenue. After, we're at $864,000 by bumping it up from 2 appointments to 4, by getting your average sale from $800 to $1,000, which isn't a huge leap, by increasing your close rate from 25% to 50%. These are not massively difficult things to do, but that's a $691,000 difference to you. So it's amazing to me how many people don't work on their sales process. Hunter Farlow, Comtech Network Solutions. Hunter's so cute. He's a young guy. His dad runs the business, the MSP. He's taking over. He's like their chief marketing officer. We started using Robin's recommended follow-up systems, pre-sales meeting, and saw a 40% increase on close rate. Once we met for the meeting, trust was already built because the marketing was done right, because the lead capture was done right, because there was differentiation, because he could explain the value. They knew how to overcome objections, right? Their close rate goes through the roof. So now, check this out. They don't have to generate as many leads to get the same results. They don't have to spend more money on marketing because they need fewer leads to get better results, okay? Strategy number 6. Karen, I guess I should, before I move on, is that questions on that, comments?
You're good. You are good to keep rolling.
Okay. So the other thing is to implement a no-fail follow-up system, okay? How bad is it? Harvard Business Review did a study and revealed that 71% of qualified leads are never followed up on. Of the leads that are followed up on, they're only touched, meaning they're emailed, they're called, something, an average of 1.3 times. And by the way, that's better than most MSPs. Okay. And what I mean is when a lead comes into your office, what happens? Most of you have no idea because you've never scripted somebody. You don't have a designated person answering the phone. When I go to your website, your phone number is not obvious. You have no way of booking an appointment with you online. I have no way of getting in contact. So I call. And when I call, I get voicemail. And what's the number one reason why somebody fires their current MSP and looks for somebody else? Anyone? Bueller? Lack of response. So now I go to your website. I got to hunt around for the phone number. It's not easy to book a call. I call your office. What do I get? I get voicemail. Or I get an engineer who should, not be answering the phone because he's not a salesperson. He's not scripted. He doesn't know what to do. So he doesn't ask any diagnostic questions. He doesn't know how to qualify it. He just goes into engineer mode, right? Not good. In fact, 67% of the calls we make, because we have a team, a big sales department, 67% of the calls we make outbound IT firms go straight to voicemail, and 14% of the numbers we call that are on your website are bad numbers, broken voicemail systems. They loop. You press 0, it disconnects. It's unbelievable. There's no answer for the most part. And these are numbers they have posted on their website. So how are you burning leads without following up? A web visitor comes to your site. There's no lead generation to opt in. You don't have any kind of information to opt in. Go to technologymarketingtoolkit.com. Look at what we got at the top of the page there, right? You're going to see a lead generation offer, and that helps us build leads. Last week alone, we generated about 350 leads from our websites. Why? Because we have offers, all right? Or a web visitor that's not pixeled for retargeting. So you've seen retargeting, you go to a website, and then you start seeing ads for those on Facebook and on Google Display and everything else, right? That is one of the cheapest ways to get leads that there is. And if you're not doing that, you're not following up, you're burning opportunities. An inbound form like a contact us, that doesn't work. When was the last time you checked your forms? I guarantee you guys, 20% of you have broken forms on your website. Inbound call that gets to voicemail and then they just hang up. They say, screw this, I'm calling the next IT company. Or an inbound call that's answered, but there's no name capture. So the person answering, calls ring, ring. Hi, we got a problem here with a server and our network's down or something like that. Is there someone here who can help us? Sure. What do you want to know? Well, what do you guys charge? Well, we don't do break fix. Okay. You don't do what is break fix? Well, we don't do like one-offs. You have to be a managed services client. You have to be under contract to get help. Okay. Okay. I'll call someone else, I guess. Like, how are they supposed to get into managed services? This is the conversation going on. It's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. It's like you call a law firm, you call up a law firm, you say, hey, yeah, I got a case I want you to look at. And the person says, sorry, we don't do break fix. What? Yeah, we only take legal clients under managed contract. So if you're not a contract, we don't work with you. Okay, well, how do I get in a contract? See, that call happens all the time. All right. Inbound call, no name, like who are you? What's your company? No follow-up, or only gets email, conversation had, no appointment set, no real follow-up happens, appointment scheduled but not kept, and you don't follow up with the person, a referral or other lead comes in, no follow. You are not capturing leads that are coming into your office right now. I guarantee you, I would bet $1,000. Post a number, and I bet you we could call it, and you're not answering your phone live. You're not doing proper diagnostic. You're not doing proper qualification. You're not saying to the person, well, hey, Karen, before I talk to you about your server project or what you need, just let me take down your name and your company and your phone number and your email, because I'll send you some information about how to look for a shop where I know what to look for in a good IT firm. So I'll make sure I get that information out to you before we start talking to you about how we can help you. That's called name capture. And it's not going on out there. It's not going on in your office, very likely, right? And I know, yeah, there's some of you say, call us. Be careful what you wish for, right? So if you're in, I know, William, you're a client. You've been around, so no fair. You already the gig is up, right? Okay. Yeah, I know, right? Okay. So power of a good follow-up system, right? If, let's say, you're generating 2 leads a month that would otherwise have gone into the ether, not been captured, not been followed up on. With 30 days, let's say we're up 8 appointments because we're doing 8 appointments because we're following up, right? Within 90 days, we do proper drip marketing, we're up 4 more. Within 6 months, we're up 3 more. Within 12 months, we're up 2 more, right? Excuse me, that's a total of 17 appointments. That's crazy. 30% close rate, again, not stellar. That's 5 new clients. Let's say one of them is a whale. One of them is a little bit bigger. So, 4 average value of 18,000 per year. You get one that's 36 plus 2 referrals from the 5. You get that's 7 new clients. And that's about 144,000. I guarantee you guys are overlooking a ton of opportunities in your business right now because you're not capturing leads and you're not following up properly, but you're also not doing drip marketing. So right now, are you emailing your prospect list that you've captured into your CRM? Are you doing a weekly email to a blog post, to a piece of content, to a webinar, right? Are you doing some sort of offline drip, a postcard, a newsletter? Probably not. Are you posting on your social media? Are you trying to get your prospects to follow you on social media? See, these are all things you could be doing to build that list, build that following. That is how brand awareness marketing is done. And most of you don't even have a CRM. You don't have a list. You have no drip marketing in place. And therefore you are missing out on a lot of leads. Okay. So all leads need to be going into a marketing system. And what I mean by that is you got to have some sort of CRM system. Now, CRM is customer relationship management software. But more than that, you want what's called marketing automation. So we have, shameless plug, we do sell one for MSPs. We call it our MAP program, our marketing automation platform. And really what it is we use Keep and Appointment Core and TurboDial and a couple other software pieces of software, and we pull it together and we customize it for an MSP. So even if you're not buying from us, which is very hurtful, by the way, if you don't buy from us, but if you insist, you still need some kind of CRM marketing automation platform. And you got to make sure every lead goes into it, every referral, every person you meet from a networking event, every inbound lead for SEO. So that way it can be counted and tracked. And then you want to kick off an online and offline follow-up system, which should be automated, couple phone calls, emails, and at least one offline package, meaning a package of materials for every qualified lead that comes in. And if they're not interested right now, you add them to your drip marketing. So that's usually going to be a weekly or at least once a month, at minimum, email touch. Some sort of, maybe it's twice a month, some sort of email touch, some sort of drip offline touch, and occasionally a phone call to check in, okay? And we have this all mapped out. I know I have customers on here. You guys, we call this the prospect hopper. That is, we give you those blog posts, we give you the emails, we give you the postcard, we give you the social media. So now that I know I've got a couple customers on the webinar, know that we, go check out the prospect hopper. We give all of that to you. Now, Scott Beck, who's up in Canada, we didn't have a system in place to automate the process of following up. If we didn't have that, we'd be missing out on tens of thousands of dollars in revenue. Some people decide to do business with us right away. Others need a couple meetings. And for some, it takes months before they realize how bad they need our service. Implementing these systems has had me grow from under 250K in revenue to, he's over 2 million, he says just shy, but he's over 2 million in profitable. Now he can afford to hire tax, et cetera, et cetera. All right. I'm telling you guys, building this list and drip marketing to it is super, super critical. So there you go, guys. Those are the 6 ways. But here's the deal. If you change nothing, nothing will change. And you got to ask yourself, are you building a tech with helpers business where your primary motivation is to avoid having a boss with no plans, no business development, no marketing, no stepping up, no nothing, right? Or are you building a real business? That's where the keep it real comes from, which is a rewarding, easy, attractive, lucrative business where your primary motivation is to build enterprise value and a thriving business with real financial freedom. And guys, here's the mindset. If you leave this webinar, here's what's going to get in your way. All right. So I just gave you 6 ways right now. Boom, you can increase sales. But some of you are going to say, no, man, I'm a tech. I can't be good at marketing and sales. Well, then just, lay down, pull some dirt over yourself and call it a day, right? What, you can't learn new skills? Like, that doesn't even make sense. Babies are born every day. And when they come out, it's not like the doctor stamping them on the forehead and said, sorry, this one's a tech, never going to make it in marketing. This one is like, that's not how it happens. It's chosen skills. That's a ridiculous argument. I could show you all those case studies. Go to my website, read case study after case study after case study of people who were engineers, no sales background, no marketing systems, and they could learn to sell. So please don't limit yourself that way. Another one is, I shouldn't have to do marketing. If we just focus on being great at what we do, clients will come to us. Lots of luck. Okay. That's the build it, they will come, and they don't come. IT services need to be sold. There's certain things that people just buy. People buy cable TV. Don't really need to sell it. People buy cell phones. You don't really, even then they still run ads, right? Buy my cell phone over another. IT services, they need to be sold. Another thing you'll say, I have to get my operations in order before I can do any marketing. You know why that's BS? Your operations are never going to be perfect, ever, right? Because the minute you add a new customer, 2 customers, it all blows up again. I built a business from scratch, guys. You are constantly under construction, and saying you got to wait to get your operations in order first is ridiculous. The other thing is we're not talking about the things I just gave you. They don't require you to go out and get a massive number of new customers. Everything I talked to you about today, most of it, not everything, because referrals would be new and inbound leads would be new, but I showed you ways to develop your customers and make more money, more revenue, more profits without adding a single new customer. So that dog don't hunt. Okay. That's what they say down in the South. I don't have time to do marketing right now. Guess what? You're never going to have time to do marketing. You know what? When people say that, you know what they're saying? Well, Robin, I'm really busy right now, so I'm going to wait until kick the can down the road 6 months, a year, whatever it is. Then I'm going to get busy on marketing. And you know what they're saying? I have to never be busy in order to do marketing. The other flaw in the ointment there is, do you really think 3 months from now, 6 months from now, you're going to be less busy than you are today? Let's be real. That you're going to always be busy. So it's not, if you just wait to wake up one day and you look around and you go, wow, I have nothing on my calendar. I have no projects, no problems, nothing. Today's a good day to start marketing. It's never going to happen. It's bunk. It's bull. Marketing is part of the process of running and growing a business. You have to find the time. This is an excuse, or I can't take another client right now. Bull. I'm calling bull. So you're going to tell me one of your best customers calls you up, says, hey, Bubba, I got a friend of mine who's a really big company who needs IT support. I told them they need to hire you. You talk to them, you find out it's a $5,000, $10,000 opportunity. You're telling me you're going to actually turn that down. You're going to go to your customer and say, man, sorry, dog, I can't take this guy on. I can't take that client. You're going to actually tell that guy, no, here's 3 competitors of mine. Call one of them. You're really going to do that? I don't think so, right? So this whole, I can't take another client right now, again, is bull. Plus, if you are so busy, you can't take another client right now, then you should be making so much money. And what I find is people aren't. So wait a minute, you can't have both. You can't be that busy and not making money. Because if you are, then what we need to do is raise your prices, develop your customers, shoot the cheap ones, do marketing, and replace them with better, higher value clients, right? That's what you need to do. But saying I can't take another client right now, so I'm not going to do marketing is bull. Or I can't afford to do marketing. Sorry, I just showed you 6 ways you could get more customers without spending a single dime. So that dog don't hunt either. All right. Now, if you want to continue this journey, and if you think that I have shown you some value and you would like to get access to some of the systems that we talked about, referral marketing, how do you do the IT budget roadmap? How do you do your QBRs? How do you package and price, a better service stack. If you want to learn how we can help you with that and do some of the marketing for you, then go over to itmarketingplan.com/6 ways. And over there, not only are we going to give you more resources of tools and templates and campaigns and ideas for doing what we just showed you, take it to the next level, but you can meet with one of my senior advisors and they can talk to you about your current situation, your fears, your concerns, your problems, what resources you have, where you're limited, and so forth. And they can recommend a program for you that fits, because we have actually 4 different programs and ancillary add-on services on top of that, based on, so we can customize it for your situation, based on your budget, your goals, your situation, how fast you want to grow, how slow you want to grow, whatever it is. So go over to itmarketingplan.com/6 ways, and you can opt in for it there. Okay. Thank you. I see Gary says, do it. You won't regret it. Thank you so much, guys. I hope this was valuable. Karen, is there anything else we should do? Because I know I'm a little over on time right now.
You covered it all.
The thing is, man, I feel like I brushed the dirt off the top. Like, there is so many different ways that you can be strategic. So guys, here's the thing, just stop thinking you can't. It's possible. It's doable. I am not promising you a quick fix. This is not a put a Band-Aid on it quick fix. I mean, we are a business development firm for MSPs, but if you're really serious and you do want to build enterprise value and build a business that someday you can sell, then you absolutely want to come over and join us. So I appreciate you guys. Thank you, Karen. Thank you, everybody. With that, I think we'll wrap up the session.